Hello, I am Minecraft Phenom 08, and this is episode 27 of my Billions and Billions challenge. In today's episode, I'm going to set up 40 nuclear reactors from the mod NuclearCraft 2 in this building right in front of me. Now, I am actually just straight north of my main base. My main base is down here, and if you follow these rail lines here, you get to my nuclear reactor base. And my old base, I should mention, is up here. So this is where I'm at today, and so let's get started. So what I am going to do is I'm going to set up 40 nuclear reactors, and the nuclear reactors will have additional reactor chambers. The first thing I want to do, however, is I want to change into my hazmat suit. That way I can handle the uranium fuel rods safely, and yeah, so that's cool. So the next thing I want to do is let's go ahead and grab the reactors, and I do want to put the reactors two away from the back here, and that's because I need a little bit of extra space here, or I will in just a minute or so. So if we look at the GUI of the nuclear reactor here, and I actually still have 20 to put down, I have some open slots here, and as I add reactor chambers, each reactor chamber will open up another column, so I will have more columns of the reactor to be able to actually put things in. So I will be using that today. So I will have reactor chambers here. I will have item duct here, reactor chamber. Okay, this is where the next line goes. So two more. There we go. And now the reactor chambers. So if we take a look at the GUI, like before, we have 3 columns unlocked. If I go ahead and add 2 reactor chambers to this first reactor, it should give me access to 5 columns, which is exactly what happens. So let's go ahead and add these reactor chambers on here. And I will need to move those torches, unfortunately. They are kind of going to be in my way here, but for right now, they're not a problem. I think I'm going to be using the glass fiber cable to remove the electricity from the reactors, and those torches will kind of be in the way. Okay, so we are done with that. The next thing I want to do is let's go ahead and set up the matter fabrication systems. And I showed a sample system back at my my main base previously. So here's what we're going to need for all of this. And actually, I did forget some ejector upgrades for the replicators, but I can do that a little bit later. So let's go ahead and set this to single mode. And I need to figure out exactly where I want this. So I don't think I want it here. It will take up 5 or 4 blocks that I need to get rid of, and then 5 blocks realistically because of the black hole unit. And let's start setting this down. So the mass fabricators, or the matter fabricators rather, let's put them on the insides here. So like so, the replicators actually go on the end. And I'm not really sure why it's actually auto-refilling there, but whatever. It's good for me, I guess. Because they're not actually the same machines. They are just part of the same setup. And I goofed on the positioning of my replicator. So let me grab one of these wrenches so I can actually grab these back. Oh yeah, did I break out 5? No, I just broke out the wrong block is what happened. No, I did break out 5. Apparently I can't count. So anyways, let's go ahead and put these where they actually need to be. So the pattern storage will go here, the replicator here, and then on the ends I'm going to use black hole units, and those are just going to temporarily store the gold ore that we're going to be getting. So the next thing is I have gold ore in my inventory. I want to put 1 gold ore in each of the scanners, and obviously the scanners don't have power at this point, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do next is let's go ahead and add some transformer upgrades to the matter fabricators here. You can actually hold, yeah. So actually I need to go back and grab a couple of things here. So I need to grab 8 more of the transformer upgrades, and I also want to grab 2 ejector upgrades as well. So I'm going to go back to my main base for that, and once I have those upgrades, I will be right back. So I have the upgrades that I need. So let's go ahead and add the transformer upgrades to the matter fabricator over there and the replicator. And let's go ahead and set up the ejectors. So this one will be set up to the north side. So that would be actually for this one over here. This replicator needs this ejector upgrade. and then the other ejector upgrade will go in the other replicator. And that is just so the gold ore that I will eventually be making will be ejected into this black hole unit, which for right now I'm just going to store. In the next episode I will be setting up the actual getting the gold ore back to my main base, and that's where the train will come in. So the next thing I need to do is I actually need to use some fluid conduit here to get the UU matter that I will be producing from the matter fabricators to their respective replicators. So let's go downstairs to do that. I will have a little bit better access down there. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to say extract out the bottom of the matter fabricator and insert into the replicator like so. And I also have some facades with me to make this look nice and pretty. So this is insert, and let's go ahead and facade this up. So that's fantastic. That will be working once all of these machines get some power. Also, I do have some stone with me, so let's go ahead and clean this stuff up that I broke earlier unnecessarily. Okay, so let's see what the next step is. I have everything in this chest in order that I want to do. So the next thing I want to do is actually get the fuel or some of the fuel into the reactors. And how I'm going to do this is... actually, I need to set up the item duct and the redstone relays. I forgot about that. So let's go ahead and punch a hole in the floor here. And I'm going to punch another hole in the floor over here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have my item duct here. And this will be to insert new fuel into the reactors as well as pulling old fuel out. And... you won't be able to see it pulling old fuel out just today, but you will be able to see the insert mechanism and the pull mechanism as well. So the next thing I need to do is I actually need to set up these redstone relays. So I'm just going to plop them all down real fast. And I think there might actually be a way to do this faster. I don't think the red prints work, but they might. And if they do, I probably should have grabbed them. But what I need to do is I need to set all of these to be redstone output, and they can be on red. I am going to put them all on the same color. Initially, I kind of had a plan to have them as different colors, but I don't think that's going to actually happen today. So I need to go ahead and do this for like 35 more of these. So I'm going to do this off camera, and once I have all of these redstone relays configured, I will be right back. I now have all of the redstone relays configured properly, so the next thing I want to do is I actually want to lay down some of the glass fiber cable, and I want to hook up the reactors to the machines over here. So let's go ahead and move these torches back, because like I said earlier, they are in the way. So I'm just going to move them back a line so that I do have room for these glass fiber cables. So one bank of the reactors is actually going to be set or hooked up to one of the matter fabricator systems, and then the other bank of reactors is going to be hooked up to the other one. And you'll know what I mean if you don't here in just a second when I get on with actually hooking them up. So I think this back bank will be hooked up to this system over here. So let's actually run this cable from here and run it up and over. Oh, whoops. I did not mean to do that. Apparently, I did make this room taller than I would typically make it, which is why I'm kind of having issues here. And since I can't fly right now, which I could have rectified between episodes, you can put jetpacks on your scuba suits and whatnot, or your hazmat suit. Okay, so we'll just run this down, and I need to do the same thing over here. And so let's make sure that we have it in the same spot. So it's more toward the replicator side. And this one only needs to hook up to this row right here, so I don't need to run it very far back. Let me make sure that this is all kosher here. There we go, and just one more here. So everything's hooked up. Let's go ahead and get rid of this for the moment, the rest of that. And let's go ahead and grab this ender chest and put it down on one of the ends. So I'm going to put it down here. And I'm actually going to put it right here. And the other ender chest will go over there, but I don't want to put that one down just yet. So actually, I want to get rid of this cobblestone. It's going to annoy me. Also, let's go ahead and set up some stone covers just to make this look a little bit nicer. And need to be a little bit careful. There we go. And then the other one will go like so. Okay, so that's fantastic. Well, let's move on to the next stage of the operation. So let's grab this inner chest. This is the other inner chest that I was just talking about, and redstone relay and some extra structural duct, as well as a lever. So pretty soon I will be turning these reactors on for the first time. It will be pretty temporary. So let's go ahead and put this chest here. And this will be where the fuel rods are actually pulled from. Right now, I just want to grab some of the fuel rods. I don't need a lot of them. 64 should be plenty. So what I'm going to do right now is in each of these reactors, I am going to put just one of the quad fuel rods. And this is going to take a little bit of time. So, and actually I can just use my scroll wheel. And just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to put them all in the same spot because I do need them to... I'm going to be preheating the reactor here, and that's because in the future I will be using MOX quad fuel rods, and the MOX quad fuel rods behave a little bit differently than the regular uranium fuel rods. If you've ever played with NuclearCraft 2, if the reactor is hotter for the MOX fuel rods, the fuel rods will actually produce more power. With these fuel rods, it doesn't matter what the heat of the reactor is, but like I said, in the future I will be using those MOX fuel rods. So I would like to preheat the reactors now, as it's a lot easier to do it as you're setting up the reactors than it would be if I were to try to do it later. So let's go ahead and finish this off. So actually, if I move this over here, it'll be a little bit easier. And should have about, 15 to go. And then I'm going to be setting up a temporary mechanism to turn on the reactors, using structural duct and the redstone relay and lever. So hopefully I haven't screwed anything up. I do need to check the number of quad fuel rods that I have after I get done inserting them, because I should have exactly 24, and I do, so that's fantastic. That means there is one in every single reactor here. So the next thing is, like I said, I need to set up a temporary mechanism to turn on these reactors, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use structural duct. I'm going to run that over, and then right here I'm going to have a redstone relay. We are going to have this to be input, and we're going to have a lever right here. So when I flip this lever, it should turn on every single one of the reactors. At least that's the goal. So let's go ahead and do that. And now we need to pay very close attention to the core heat temperature. I do not want the core temperature of any of these reactors to exceed 70%. My target area is actually 65 to 67%. So I'm just going to watch this reactor really closely. Let's actually take a look at several of the reactors here. And if you listen closely, you should be able to hear the reactors making a noise. So that is them running. Okay, so I'm just going to watch this reactor now. It will take just a little bit longer to heat up. Like I said, the temperature range I would like to see is anywhere from 65 to 67%. And that is a good balance of making additional power once I use those MOX fuel rods and not having adverse environmental effects. If you run these nuclear reactors too hot, they will start to turn certain blocks into lava, and it will start evaporating water. As I don't have any water in this building, that wouldn't be a problem. But they can also start harming nearby players, so I don't want to run them too hot. So we're almost to that 65% mark. So one more. There we go. So everything should be off now. We should see 0 EU per tick, and our reactors mostly should be around 65.28%. Once in a while, you will have a reactor that is a little bit more or a little bit less for whatever reason. Even when you set up the redstone to where every reactor should be getting the redstone signal at the same time. But it looks like from what I've done, or from the reactors I've checked, that they're all at 65.28, which is actually kind of odd. Usually I do have a few outliers. But that looks fantastic. So what we're going to do now is let's go ahead and get rid of this, because I don't want to accidentally turn this on right now. That would be really bad. So I am going to get rid of the structural duct, because that was temporary. At least this structural duct right here was. I will be setting up some structural duct later on in the episode, because I do want to add some safety switches to this, and you'll see what I mean in a little bit. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is let's go ahead and grab the condensators. So, and not these condensators, let's grab these, the items. So I am actually going to put most of this back. Why do I have an extra glass fiber cable? I have no idea. But anyways, I'm just going to put that back. And let's do everything. So I'm going to get the items here. And so what I'm going to do with each reactor, and I'm probably going to go ahead and do this off camera, is I'm actually going to move the quad fuel rod over. On the far left side and the far right side, I'm going to use the RSH condensators. And then down the middle, I'm going to be using the LZH condensators. So this is going to take a little while. Additionally, I think as I am away, I am going to fill the rest of the reactor with fuel rods. And so let's actually grab these back, and I will need to grab some more fuel rods. But all of the reactors will be configured by this when I return, so I will be back in a few minutes. So I finally have all of my nuclear reactors configured properly, and the next step is to actually lay down the reactor coolant injectors for the LZH and the RSH. So let's grab the reactor coolant injectors as well as some wrenches, because we're going to need the wrenches to twist these around. Now, as far as the reactor coolant injectors, they actually are sighted, so we need to be extremely careful with how we place these. What these things will do is they will take blocks of lapis and blocks of redstone, and they will repair the RSH condensators and the LZH condensators as they take damage or heat from the quad fuel rods. So as you see, the durability is quite high for the LZH condensator at 100,000. That will deplete rather quickly with the quad fuel rods beside them. But we have the reactant coolant injectors over here, which will repair those with the lapis and redstone. So we do need to make sure that this box side is toward the reactor, and we can do that with the wrench. So if I hit the wrench on the top, the box side actually goes to the bottom, and so that would be the active side. So what we need to do is we will need to be hitting the top. As you can see, as I hit this side, the side that we need is over here now. So let's go ahead and pick this up by hitting that same side again. And what we need to do is place 40 of these along the glass fiber cable here. And at this point, I need to be super careful not to touch anything. And actually, did I make any? I did not make anything earlier. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to place them hopefully facing down. So actually, I want to do a quick experiment here. So let's build a short tower, and let's place this hopefully facing down. That does work. Sweet. So I guess I probably won't need these wrenches. I just need to be super careful with how I place these. So I need to make sure that they're all facing down. It looks like they should be. And I need to do this for this as well. And actually, there are a couple of reactors that are going to be set up just a little bit differently, and I'll get to that here in just a minute. Okay, so there's the LZH. Let's do the RSH now, and I want to do them over here so I can run some item conduit between these. And that will to carry the lapis and the redstone to the coolant injectors here. Okay, so this last row here. And we're almost done with this. So, actually, I don't have transformers. I will need transformers. So, and looks like I actually need a step here. So the next thing I need to do is I actually need to move a couple of the coolant injectors. And what I'm going to do on a couple of the reactors is, say this reactor right here, because I have this glass fiber cable here, this coolant injector cannot actually accept the amount of power I'm going to be producing from these reactors. If they do accept it, they will explode. So what I need to do is let's go ahead and remove that. Let's go ahead and remove that as well. I'm going to place the LZH over here. And what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to take out the RSH condensators and replace them with LZH condensators. So this reactor will only be run off the lapis. All of the other reactors have some redundancy here, and that is just to kind of reduce the risk on my end of these things exploding accidentally. So so yeah, there's redundancy here. If for whatever reason I ran out of redstone and the reactors continue to stay on, the LCH condensators should be able to soak up all of the heat, and vice versa. If I run out of lapis, the RSH condensators should be able to soak up the heat that is produced from the reactor. So there is some redundancy here. However, on a couple of them there will not be redundancy because I do need this cable to run up beside the reactor without actually touching the reactor coolant injectors here. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I need to get rid of this RSH condensator right here because it would be hooked up to too much voltage. And I do need to remove these once again and replace them with the LZH condensators. So the next thing I actually need to do is I actually need to prepare to get power to the reactant coolant injectors here. And I actually need to get some transformers for that. So I need to run back to my main base, and once I have those, I will be right back. And I'm back with all of the transformers that I should need for today's episode. Also, I grabbed some painters because I realized I do need these. So what these will be for is so that I can actually have two glass fiber cable lines beside each other without them actually connecting. So I need one to be one color and the other to be another color. And I'll show you how this works here in just a second. So what we're going to do is, I should mention that I changed out of my hazmat suit because I don't think I will be handling the fuel rods anymore. And flight is kind of nice because I don't have to use my step there. So let's go ahead and see how this works. So I need to power all of the reactant coolant injectors, but I can't actually power them from the reactors themselves. I do need to downstep the amount of power I'm getting to them because they will explode if they get too much voltage, like I said earlier. So how I'm going to do that is transformers. But first off, let's actually lay all of the lines here that I will be needing. I do need to get rid of that torch apparently, and the torch over here as well. And once again, that torch is kind of in my way. And this is kind of a pain, but these reactors should produce quite a bit of power, especially later on when I have them hooked up, or when I have them using MOX fuel rods. So I do need to make sure to paint that as well. So how these painters work, and let's, now that I've got all that hooked up, as you can see right here, these are connected and I don't want them to be. So I'm going to paint this one red and I'm going to paint this one blue, and they will disconnect. They are no longer connected. So the same thing over here. It doesn't matter which one I use. Let's do blue on that, and then red over here, and then those disconnect. So now these lines are totally unconnected from anything at the moment. I do want to go ahead and connect them up to each other. So let's do this. Colored lines will connect up to uncolored lines, but they will not connect up to cables that are colored differently than they are. So these two are connected, and then let's just do it right here across. And so now all of these are connected, but they still won't have power because they need some transformers. And so I think I have 20 across, so I have 10 transformers with me, so I will have 5 empty spots. So I actually have 3 transformers. I have HV transformers, MV transformers, and then LV transformers. I'm not sure if these can accept medium voltage. I know they can accept low voltage, so I am stepping the power all the way down to this. And I'm not actually sure what the EU these produce are because I wasn't paying attention earlier. So let's grab some glass fiber cable, and I think we're going to power the reactors off of this line back here. So let's see. I need to be a little bit careful how I set this up, I think. So I'm not sure if that was 10 or not. So let's set these up to be this way. And I actually don't want that to connect up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is actually where I want that. So I might end up moving this cable over. Let's just go ahead and set these up. And I will actually need to flip these transformers around. So so these transformers, the 5 dotted side is different from the 1 dotted side. So I do want these to be fixed step down, but I want to arrange them so that they are the 5 dotted side to the back here. So I will need wrenches for this. And I do have another wrench with me, but I might just actually need to grab more. So what I need to do is I need these to be fixed step down. And I actually don't think this will be a problem. I'm going to just hope that that's not going to be a problem. I don't think it will be. So I need to set these to be all fixed step down. So I can do that real fast, I think. And then the same thing with the MV transformer. All these transformers kind of operate the same. They have the 5 side and then the 1 side. Okay, so I need to grab my wrench again, and I need to hold shift this time and right click. If I were to not hold shift, it would actually take the 5-sided to the side that I actually hit with the wrench. I need them to be opposite. So here's my second wrench, and it looks like I'm going to be fine. Once again, I need to set these to be fixed step down. So what these transformers do is when you set them to be fixed step down, it will take input voltage from the side with the 5 dots on it, and it will step it down, and it will output it to all of the sides with the 1 dot side. So did I actually? I feel like I missed one, but it doesn't look like I did. So let's go ahead and do the LV transformers last. And once again, I need to do the exact same thing with these guys. So let's get a wrench these all around, and then set them up to be fixed step down. And then I should be able to hook the condensator or the coolant injectors down below to these LV transformers. And the reason why I use 10 is because these things will be pulling a little bit of power, and if I just had one set of transformers, I don't think I would be able to actually get enough power to them. So what we're going to do is, just to make this look a little bit better here, I'm actually going to disconnect most of these from each other. And that's just for aesthetics. So what we're going to do is, these up here are going to be red, and then these ones down here, and I didn't even need to do that, are going to be blue. So that they're only connected on either end there. So once I turn all of this on, the coolant injectors should start getting power, and they should not explode. That's the goal, at least. So I'm not actually going to turn this on just yet. Let's go ahead and set up the I/O for the coolant injectors, because they do need lapis and redstone. And I set up in the last episode, I set up to have these ender chests to have lapis for the blue, 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 and redstone blocks for the red, red, red. So let's go ahead and find a spot for these guys, as well as grab my item conduits. And I probably should have grabbed some speed upgrades for those, but I don't actually think that'll be necessary. So let's go ahead and put these, I can just kind of put them anywhere. Let's put them up above, might be the best place. I don't know that there's the super great place for these. Let's put these up here, actually. And so I can do this a little bit differently than I actually originally planned here. So what we can do is we can run this down, and I actually should grab a conduit probe, and I don't think I have it over here. No, I don't. So I will go ahead and grab that here in a minute. But let's just go ahead and lay down all of these conduits. And the conduits over here as well. And looks like I need to get rid of that torch once again. And so this will be the way that I get the redstone and lapis into all of these coolant injectors. Okay, so this is blue. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the blue chest extract on blue always on. And the same over here. Extract blue always on. This over here for the redstone will be extract on red, just to make things simple, always on. And then this will be extract on red as well, always on. So currently that will be doing nothing. So the next thing I need to do is I actually need to disconnect the item conduit from the reactors altogether. I do not want them interacting with the reactor in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then what I'm going to do, and I can go ahead and do this off camera, for the RSH, which you can just barely see the R here, I need to have them be insert on red. And for the LZH, I need to have them insert on blue. So this is LZH. So insert on blue, and that is extract. That's my bad. So I need to set these up all to be, for the LZH, insert on blue, and for these, insert on red. And as you can see, I'm already getting the necessary ingredients in there. And to do this, I am actually going to run back to my main base and grab my conduit probe so that I can do this rather quickly. And once again, I do need to disconnect the reactors from the item conduit. And once I have all of that done, I will be right back. So I finally have all of my item conduit configured properly. So the next thing I need to do is I actually need to set up my safety switches. So I did move my ender chest to over here because I do need to hook them up to comparators. And if we take a look inside, they're currently almost empty because I am filling up these coolant injectors, and they can hold quite a few items here. So how we're going to do this is let's set them to compare mode, and then they should be outputting signal to these redstone. And what we're going to do next is, I'm going to set up some sticky pistons here. And actually, let's grab some stone for this to make it look a little bit neater. So these sticky pistons will be hooked up to stone. And the next step here is my lever is going to be right here, and this is going to be my manually turning on the reactor lever. Actually want it to be facing this way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a repeater here and a repeater there. And let's go ahead and get rid of this torch. It's kind of in the way. So the next thing I need to do is I need to take structural duct, and I need a redstone relay, and I need to put this relay over here. This relay needs to be set to input, and now let's go ahead and grab the structural duct, and I need to connect up this structural duct to this item duct over here. So let's run this all the way to the ceiling here, and then over, and then down. Okay, so when I flip this lever, it should turn the reactors on. As we see right now, the reactors are off, even when both of these are extended. Unfortunately, they're kind of blinking on and off as my crafters on the other end are making the redstone and lapis. And I could actually probably speed those up. Let's see, are we almost done with this? No, we're not. We still have several blocks to go. So what I'm going to do is, just to test this reactor system, I'm going to turn this on. The reactor should start blinking on and off as the safety switch actually goes back and forth. So we just saw it tick on and tick back off. So what's going to happen is that anytime these chests are completely empty, the reactors will shut off. And that happens if either of the chests is actually off. And that's because I'm sending the redstone signal through from this lever, through this block of stone, through this block of stone, and then to the reactors. If either of these blocks of stone are not here, the reactors will shut off. So that is a nifty little safety switch I've set up before, and I found that it is pretty useful. So for any reason these run out of lapis or redstone, these reactors will shut off and they will not overheat. So how these condensators work is, once they get down to a certain durability, and I forget what the durability number is, they will be repaired by the coolant injectors here. And so what I'm going to do now is, let's go ahead and see how much UU matter I'm making. So apparently I didn't set up my conduits correctly. At least over here I did not. So I did something wrong over there. Let's see, the scanner is done. So each block of gold ore takes 10.15 millibuckets of UU matter to make a block of gold ore. So let's go ahead and set this up. So let's tell this to repeat run, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. And I do need to go ahead and fix my item conduit underneath, because I did screw that up apparently. And it should be the last one. So yeah, I set this up to be insert. This needs to be extract. I don't know why I did that. So up above should be my facade. So let's grab that and put it back. And so I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wait on all of the coolant injectors to be filled, because this the reactors blinking on and off isn't going to allow me to actually get to the point to where I can show you how the condensators function. So I'm going to wait just a little bit, and once they are done, once the lapis and redstone chests actually have some lapis and redstone in them, I will be right back. Finally, my ender chests are to the point to where they are starting to fill up, and I have checked, and it appears that all of the coolant injectors do have the blocks that they need. So let's go ahead and turn these reactors on. They shouldn't be blinking on and off anymore. So what happens is when the RSH condensator, say, gets below about 5,000 durability or so, it should repair, and it should take 1 block of redstone to do so. So let's make sure that this is going to work as intended. I believe I have everything set up correctly. So let's just wait and see. These reactors are producing quite a bit of power, 1120 EU per tick. And like I said earlier, when I use the MOX fuel rods in the future, this number will be even larger. It will be considerably larger. I think it'll be somewhere close to about 3 times as much power. So that's going to be a really exciting change once I get to that point. But still got a few things to do before I can get there. So these condensators should be being pretty close to being repaired here. If they are not repaired pretty soon, I need to shut off the reactor to make sure nothing's wrong. But I'm pretty sure that they will be repaired here in just a second. Come on, don't prove me wrong. So, like I said, I thought the number was about 5,000, but apparently it's a little bit lower, or I did something wrong. Okay, so this is starting to get concerning. So yeah, I'm gonna shut these off. So either, okay, so okay, I see what I've done. These are not getting power, and I'm not super sure why, because they should. Let's see if any of them are getting power. They're not. Fix. You know what? It's because I did fix step up on those on these transformers here. So if I do fix step down, so what fix step up is doing is it's trying to pull power. So yeah, I'm guessing a few of my viewers saw this when I was setting these up, that I screwed that up. But this is why we always make sure to test things. So let's go ahead and flip this lever. These should start getting some power, and they should start working. Okay, so as you can see, the durability of the RSH condensator are at 0, but that doesn't concern me just yet, because the LCH condensators should be able to soak up the heat for right now, while these try to get some power. Yeah, I'm really... Why did I do that? So anyways, let's make sure that these are actually going to be repaired before anything bad happens. And it looks like all of the LCH condensators are getting some power. And let's make sure that the solos over here are okay. Because they are the reactors most likely to have a problem. Okay, so it seems like everything's going to be okay, despite the hiccup here at the very beginning, and due to my incompetency at times. But it looks like I fixed everything. And let me make sure that this has power before I call this fine. Yeah, it should be all right. And all of the RSH condensators are repaired at this point, so that's good. Let's just run around and make a double check of everything. Like I said, I needed a lot of those transformers. I'm not sure exactly the number that I needed, but 10 appears to be a decent balance at this point. The condensators or the coolant injectors are still filling up with power, but they did have enough power to get through the first cycle there. So that is fantastic. So I think everything's going to be fine and dandy. Hopefully nothing explodes. That is kind of the bad side of nuclear reactors. If you screw something up, they can't explode. That is one of the reasons why I have the safety switch over here, so that hopefully if I run out of redstone or lapis, the reactors will shut themselves down. So I think that's a pretty completed build. So in today's episode, I set up these nuclear reactors and all of this stuff in this building here. I did quite a bit. I have reactors. I have 40 reactors producing 1120 EU per tick, which is quite a bit of power, to be honest. And in the future, it will be even more. In the next couple of episodes, I will be working in this area as well, because I do want to set up a scrap factory for my matter fabricators. If you provide scrap for the matter fabricators, they are actually 6 times as efficient. They will produce 6 times as much UU matter, and that's what this slot right here is for. It's to insert scrap and scrap boxes. So I will be setting up a scrap factory in the near future. But anyways, If you enjoyed today's episode and this awesome NuclearCraft 2 nuclear reactor setup, definitely throw this video a like, and if you enjoy watching automation in modern Minecraft, definitely consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, because that's pretty much what I do. Anyways, signing off, I am Minecraft Phenom 08, and I will see you next time.